Hi there, currently on one of my favorite YouTube channels, Oak Swamp. He's building, amongst other things, a Comar-based race transporter, which is currently red, and it sort of like looks like that, even though I realize that Comar has 3 different faces. But hey ho. So seems to be 2 models that are practical for what I'm trying to do, which is to build a bit of a scale version of Oak Swamp's race transporter. And it just happens to be red in this case too, and the wheels are intact and the whole whatever I need is intact. And then Brian does a little race car that he transports on that clearly currently fits on the Comer platform as we see it here. So that's why I bought this Daimler. Now, I'm not very familiar with this, but I thought it's Corgi, and this is Corgi, and maybe I'm in luck and the scale lines up and I can make Oak Swamp's little race car out of it. But so I was so wrong because the scale is either off, it's a different scale, or this Daimler here is of a scale that, it is a monstrous sized car, more like of an Edwardian sized car. So this is not going to fly. I'm still going to go ahead with this race transporter. I am going to keep it scruffy, so I'm not sure how much I will do. As you see, I bought more than one of these Comers, and here we have an intact glass, even though the glass is white, which I'm not in favor for, so the green glass I prefer. We shall see. So I'm going forward with this. I'm also playing with the idea of extending the wheelbase. Basically cut this off, add this on. Then I have a proper length wheelbase, similar to like Volkswagen did with the T1 when they were carrying Porsches to the races. But that's another story. So then I was thinking, how do I make Oak Swamp's little race car? And the one thing that I remember is that he was able to wheel on his little race car in between the wheel arches. So this would be sort of more the extent to the width of it, which it seems tiny than what he builds. And this is obviously 1/64 scale as in Hot Wheels, and that's also not to scale. But I'm thinking that what I started here in this case is sort of the key for me of building what's going on the back of the Comer eventually. So let me explain. So for example, what I'm building here is a drivetrain. I like it. And it's obviously like I'm taking a license here and freedom to what I build. But what you see here is basically a valve cap, a vintage steel valve cap of an Italian bicycle tube. Let me turn this around for you. That I have put an axis in and stuck into a nipple of a bicycle wheel, okay, which is mated to a cable guide adjuster, a cable outer adjuster, and this is a cable end. Not sure what the bridge here is from, this part. It's just a fixture, and there's another part in here. This I can also not remember what this was, but this basically sits, and then I'm using just a regular Hot Wheels rear or front axis. I think it's a fairly small one too, so I obviously could use a bigger one. if I want to go up in scale, and I could sand it down to reduce the width. We shall see about wheels, but this is basically how I'm going to start again. I'm using a slightly bigger valve cap for a gearbox, and then I'm going to build something like this. And then the body of the vehicle can be something like that. I'm using fairly big office clamp for the chassis rail, and then we'll put some wheels. And again, this is another bicycle item that we have here for the stacks, the carburetor stacks, and I'm going to just mock up some engine. So this is basically what this is going for. So don't worry about that, we'll scratch build, we'll get to that when we get to that. And what I'll do with this, the only thing that I can tell you is that this is actually clear. So I will polish the headlamps, and it continues, so you can feed in light via an LED that you can hide inside the vehicle. I will definitely play with that. So yeah, and I will definitely extend the wheelbase because I want to transport something that's a believable same scale vehicle. So assume something like this when it comes to wheelbase. This will be obsolete to my needs. Maybe, no, also the glass is really nice and blue, but yeah, obsolete. So let's get back to what now becomes Dominic Chinea's. Dominic Chinea's. He's currently building an Edwardian. I think that's what this will be. So I'm using the chassis of that, and then I'm going to build myself an engine. Depends on what he figures out. He's obviously talking about cutting his 12-cylinder engine V12 into a V6 because he doesn't need 500 horsepower, only about 250. Because I understand that the Edwardian limit, one of the limitations for the Edwardians racing is the historical tire size. So I have a chassis now. Look, I got a rear axis, I got a gearbox, I theoretically got a fairly small base to an engine, I got leaf springs. We shall see. So let me take this apart and see what we will use. And apologize I didn't bring the stand, so I'll switch this off and I'll make a part 2 right away once I've taken this apart.